Hey everyone, it's Presley at ActOutGames.com here, and last week we showed you some really simple ways to make cat ears, but now we're going to show you a more complex version, which looks better, and this is probably what we're going to be wearing to cons.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Okay, so like I said last week, we kind of showed you a real simple, quick way to kind of knock some test ears out, or even put something together that's really easy to wear. Like
a Halloween leopard costume.
Halloween leopard costume kind of thing, yeah. But so I wanted to show you what we're actually going to do for the con, how we're going to put some ears together, and it's really close to the same. Just adds a couple of steps more than anything else. So let's talk through a couple, okay?
Okay.
All right. So same thing we did before. I've got pink felt and like a tan flesh-colored felt. Pitou's ears are very fleshy. They're not super furry, and they're like flesh-colored. So these are the two colors that I think work real well. And then I've got a piece of craft foam that I cut to go in the middle to give it a little bit of texture, right, or a little rigidity. And so you can see here I drew the shape of the ear that I want on here. And I just left a little extra on there because I'm going to sew these together, and I want that space.
Okay.
Right? And so the first thing that you're going to do is just take and put these back to back, and then you're going to sew along the outline of the ear that your craft foam is going to fit inside of. Right? So we're just going to sew here, and you can hand sew it, or you can sew with a machine. I'm going to sew it with a machine real quick. You sew it either way, and just sew that, and then we'll go from there once we've got that piece done. Okay? So once that's sewed, I just kind of, more or less followed the line that I had there. I'm going to cut some of this, seam allowance kind of over each stuff here.
Seam allowance kind of sounds like you're giving a
I'm paying it.
Yes, you're paying it.
$10 a week to clean his room.
Yes.
Alright, so cut that out, and then what do, you think?
You put the thingy inside?
Nope, turn it inside out.
Oh, yeah.
So remember, we always sew on the inside, and that way when you flip it around, it hides your seam, right? So you don't see that. It makes it look a lot nicer, right? So that's going to be the ears, and see that matches pretty well what we've got here. And you're right. So this goes inside to give it, a little bit of
cut off that extra.
I think it'll tuck most of the way in, right? So that's basically what it's going to be. But obviously, the one thing you have is when you're bending it, you want it to hold its shape. And so what I'm doing to get it to hold its shape is I'm using a paper clip, and I take a paper clip, pretty good sized paper clip, and then really just bend it in the shape I want to make a little rigidity back here, right? And then all I'm going to do is I want to hot glue that on the back of the ear so that it holds its shape. Hold on, let me get this. And then, when I bend it, you could bend these two little pieces here, but they're actually kind of hard to bend and get where you want them to be, so I actually just been cutting them off.
They're like little rockets.
They are. They fly away. Alright, so we're going to take this. I'm going to put just a little bit of bead.
Put it.
You want to put it? Okay, you can put it right in the middle, and just a little bit. Careful of the cord doesn't stretch very far.
So right, like
yeah, right in the middle. Yeah, just put a bead.
Got it?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, got it.
Okay. Hot glue smells strange.
And then I'm just going to put the paper clip on here and push the back into it, so that the glue sets. And then once the center has set, just do the two edges. And then obviously this will be covered up when you put the...
Yeah, it's not going to be like you're having this paperclip hot glue mess on your head.
That's right.
How am I cat?
It's not a steampunk cat with gears and paper clips glued, hot glued all over it. Alright, so now that makes it hold its shape really nicely, and you can see those are kind of staying the way that we want them to be. And so before we put this over, one other thing that I wanted to do was I'm going to glue a little strip of fabric across the bottom down here.
Stretchy fabric.
And that is so that I can put the bobby pins to hold it on. You want something nice and thin so the bobby pins hold real well. And you want it to just kind of stretch across the bottom.
What kind of fabric is this?
I don't know. It's just loose fabric. Doesn't really matter what you use.
Just a random piece of fabric laying around the house?
Just some fabric we had left over from one of the projects we did sometime.
At some point.
Yeah, we've got plenty.
At some point in time we used this.
And then just roll it like that.
Do we glue it or sew it?
Yeah, we glue it. So a little hot glue on one corner.
And hot glue to the other corner.
Okay.
I can have...
Oh, hot glue right there on the other corner.
I don't want to burn you. Oh, no, I can.
Don't want you to burn me either. Yeah, right there. All right, good.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's plenty.
That's more than enough.
Still attached. Okay, there we go. And we're going to add it to these.
Glue it there.
Okay.
And then once that glue sets, you've got a little band that you can use. And so I'm using white fabric because obviously he's wearing white hair. And so the white fabric kind of hides pretty well. So we let that set. So now all you're gonna do is slide this over. The pink side is the inside of the ear, so that's the side it's folded towards. I run a little bead of hot glue down the middle because if you don't glue this back to the back, it'll just, you know, sit out. You won't see the shape. I got it. Let me do it.
Okay, you add the little line of glue.
So not too much, because if you get too much glue in the fabric, it'll show a little bit. So you want it to be pretty thin.
But just this weird lump in your cat ear.
Slide it down as far as you can. And then press. And you got a 3-eared Pitou. Right? Yeah. So that's really all there is to it. They come together. It's just a couple of extra steps from what we did last week, but it makes them look a ton better. They attach a lot better because that fabric is thin and the bobby pins hold, and we may actually use, like I said, the little springy hair clips when we actually do it for the con. But I think actually they look pretty awesome, and they're going to work really great for the con. So there you go. That makes them hold their shape better. The little paper clip, just hot glued on the back, makes them hold their shape really, really well. A little bead of hot glue in the middle so that the felt stays with the shape of the ear. Put them on.
Yay!
Does that look good? Cool. So let's take a look at Presley in her Pitou costume because we've got a couple extra pieces. We'll show you a quick clip of what she looks like now. Cool. And then I think you can sign us off.
So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!
Bye, guys.
It's time to press the subscribe button. Subscribe button. Subscribe button. Subscribe. Bye 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 bye.